Hey, busy business people. I am here today with another entrepreneur taking action, David Walter. He got on an uncanny hot streak, setting 15 appointments per day with decision makers every single day in a row for 6 months straight. And I'm getting the scoop today on how he did it, so stay tuned. Okay, so to kick things off, 15 appointments in a day, assuming 5-day week, 6 months straight, that's almost 2,000 appointments. What motivated you to even do that?
Hey, entrepreneurs taking action. Glad to be here with Christina. Ready to take some action. Hopefully, we get you motivated to start picking up that phone. I got a secret for you. These hunk of junks, plastic on your desk, a telephone, they don't pick themselves up. They need you to pick them up. Pick up the phone and start dialing. But to your question, what motivated me was I had my parents. We had gone bankrupt. I had helped my dad make $1 million, and then boom, the '90s recession hit. Out of college, I was like, I can help you make money, Dad. We started advertising in the newspaper, these brilliant ads I created and radio ads I did, and made $1 million. And then boom, he lost the house. I had to go grab a job, telemarketing, and specifically for people listening, it's I grabbed the book by Zig Ziglar, See You at the Top. Had a background of listening to Tony Robbins, and unleashed the power within, and started believing in the subconscious mind, right? And that book said to look in the mirror and claim your qualities. And that's what I did. Guys, I looked in the mirror and said, I'm going to set 15 appointments a day. And I did that over and over and over again until that created momentum. It created excitement, a belief, and got it in my subconscious mind until I figured out how to do it. Because I had no idea how to set 15 appointments a day. In that environment, Christina, people were setting 2 a day. And they were excited. Oh, man, I got 2 appointments. Ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. 2. Yay. So the idea of 15 was like unknown. But contacting your subconscious mind works. Vision boards. I've got a vision board where I got on entrepreneur contributor, mantra, visualization, got there. And I just mentioned before the note, I just got an Entrepreneur on Fire. And that's a huge podcast, and meditation, vision board, all that stuff. So if you're listening, Christina, right now, all your audience, if you've read these books and you have not taken action yet, you have got to start a vision board, a mantra, visualization. It works.
Oh, man. So, how many calls did you have to make to get 15 appointments in a day? I feel like you'd have to make a lot of calls to pull that off.
No, actually, that's one of the secrets. Is you can make less calls and more contacts. It's an idea that I talk about called 3 feet from gold, from the Think and Grow Rich book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, our listeners know about that story about the guy who was mining for gold, found a little bit, bought all the equipment, and everything, and then kept digging to pay everything off and dry. Sold it to one of the guys that had been helping him. That guy brought an expert in and said, "Hey, you know what? I think this gold vein moves, and it's going different. Let's move over 3 feet." And boom, hit the mother lode of gold. These guys walked away from a gold mine, and that applies. You people do the numbers game. They call. I call Christina, and you're on the podcast, so you don't answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they go on. They move on to the next one, the next hole, another one, and another one, another one. Well, they don't know in about 20 minutes you're going to be off this podcast, and you'll be ready. Which means if they just moved over a little bit and called a little bit later, back in the same day, back to Christina, you might answer the phone. And that's secret. It's also from The Pursuit of Happiness. When he's on there, that famous video clip where he's dialing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's on the internet. He's dialing and he says, "I don't go get water. I don't do this. I don't even hang up the phone."
Yep.
And he wants to get to the top of the page, right? He's never done that because he comes in late. And he Walter Ribbon, he like skips from the bottom to the top. He skips, right? You remember that, audience?
Yep.
Everybody out there with me with Pursuit of Happiness? Will Smith playing this character. and he just takes his finger and goes up to the top and stops. He made it to the top. He just skipped everything. Calls Walter Ribbon. He answers the phone. Now let's think
Yep.
about that. What did Walter Ribbon tell him? Hurry, get over here. I don't have much time. I'm leaving. Right? What would have happened if he had called in order consecutively up that list? A,
Yeah.
he might have never made it. B, if he hadn't made it, would Walter Ribbon have been there? No, he would have been gone. It's called randomization, right? And so literally, if you could visualize that list that you're calling, and the name turns green, yellow, red, you would see the lights changing constantly. Green, red, yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red, yellow, right? Calling through that and going down and then going to the next page over is called the numbers game. Calling 100 different companies a day. Call 30 over and over and over again, and you skyrocket your contacts. And that's what I did. I was contacting, right? The decision maker 40 times a day. I bet the average person listening right now, if they made 40 contacts with the decision maker in a month, they would have a little party and celebrate.
Yep. Probably.
Celebration, come on. But they can't even wrap their mind around 40 contacts in one day. 40 contacts. So that to your question, I was probably dialing the same companies, I don't know, 60, 70 calls a day, right? But I was just calling the same people over and over again. That's the secret. This is a secret to dramatically increase, and nobody wants to do it. Christina, they're terrified. In fact, the audience right now is probably scared. Say, wait a minute. If I called them over and over again, I would burn my list. Oh no!
Yep.
But that's because you're doing it wrong. They're calling in and saying, "Hey, this is John Smith from XYZ Company. How is it going, Christina?" Great. And then they call back again. If they call back again, Christina, this is John Smith from XYZ Company. How's it going? I'm calling back again. And then the third time, you're gonna be like, John Smith, you've already called here 3 times. And I don't care about XYZ Company, and I'm putting you on the blacklist. But I don't. You're not supposed to do that. Hey, Christina, how's it going? Great. Hey, could you put Bob on the line for me, please? Hey, Christina, this is David. Hey, how's it going? Great. Hey, I know you're busy. Real quick, could you put Bob on the line? If he's not there, I'll just leave a voicemail. No big deal. You minimize it. You're short. You're sweet. You listen, and maybe you're talkative. So I would chat it up a little bit. How's it going? Have you seen Squid Game yet? You know, do you watch Netflix? I like Lock and Key. Oh, hey, real quick, could you try Bob's line for me? So there's a million ways to get past the gatekeeper, and I learned them all. I learned them all. But the main thing was to call back over and over and over again, and because you're just 3 feet from gold. That number you just called, there's gold in them there hills. If you just call them back 3 times.
And so, how do you even figure out who to call in the first place? Like, how do you know what companies are worth calling and who at the company you need to be calling?
Oh well, when you target a vertical, right? You're supposed to target verticals, or as John Lee Dumas says, get rich in the niches. Niche down until it hurts.
Yep.
So you focus on a niche. And when you do that, you just start figuring, you call and you just figure out, you know what, in this industry, the operation manager makes all the decisions. Or, you know what, I'm calling lawyers, and the office manager is the one to talk to, right? Once you stay in a vertical, you just figure that out. And then and of course, at that time, that company got all their leads from, I don't remember, lead brokers, right? We got the
Mhm.
best leads. They're double, triple qualified. And when you get them, they're all garbage. That's the thing that people battle with, right? It's funny you asked that question. This is a shameless plug for Seamless AI, which I use, and it's just AI that goes and grabs all the contact information. But I got an article coming out Entrepreneur about this question, and there's also there's a couple other companies out there, mostly Seamless AI, and Go Leads is a cheap
Mhm.
source. So if you just want the bottom down and dirty contact information, and then to build on it and like go on LinkedIn and fill it in, you could go to Go Leads and then buy a list for very little money, populate your field, your CRM, and then go in and put more information. But Seamless AI, or if you don't have any money, just prospect off of LinkedIn. Just go in and look at law firms and stuff like that, or go on Google and find a bunch of law firms and then qualify. But if you got a little bit of money, Seamless AI just makes the whole thing. Really, you have to qualify your list. To your point, I don't call. When I was doing that, I didn't call blindly and just call leads. I had already set aside time, like on a Monday when
Mm-hmm.
it's slow. I'd sit there and I'd put my qualifying hat on, and I wouldn't prospect at all. I would just go through a lead. I would set up. I would go and find leads that I personally verified were legitimate leads that had a real business. They answered the phone. I would ask them about how many employees they had. And when you're not trying to get through to the decision maker, they'll tell you that information.
Hmm.
Yeah, my book has a script for it.
Yeah,
It's this
I'm working
magic
my way through
Columbo
your
script.
book at the moment. I've got the copy of it right here. It's like I'm about
Yeah,
halfway through.
yeah, it's the magic Columbo script that extracts all the data out of that person when you're qualifying. But if you have a list like from Seamless when you qualify, it's a lot faster. If you have to manually qualify, that slows people down,
Yeah.
right? And when I had my own company, that would slow me down, right? When I was cold calling, I would like, man, they just paid me, and I haven't got all the appointments yet, and I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't even qualify. Okay, let me qualify, and then right after I qualified, boom, I'd have like 5 or 6 appointments. I'd be halfway to the completion goal. So qualifying is the hard work. You're halfway done if you qualify your database, because that's when you're calling over and over again. You're calling numbers that answer the phone, and the person's name to ask for. Right?
Right.
That's a great question. That is a great
I like
question,
that.
and I have. You're going to ask about it, but I'm giving away how to get past gatekeepers. Totally giving it away in diagrams. So anybody listening, free workbook, free. Why I couldn't believe I got that domain either. It's like what? It's like so easy. Free workbook, and it's totally, absolutely free. Nilch Zada, nada, no dinero, no upsell. You just put your name in there and your email, and boom, you get that. But I'm giving that away. That is the obstacle people are focused on right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear that one time and time again. People are like, how do we get past the gatekeepers? What was the domain where they can get that at again?
Free workbook.
Just .com?
Yeah, free
Wow.
FREE
Yeah, I can't believe
work.
you got that domain either. That's a good one.
It's so easy to remember. Freeworkbook.com.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
And
Yeah,
it's
I was
totally
like, there's
free.
got to be more to it, like a dash or something, or no. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, it's not just 7. The diagrams and pictures are really nice. I had a designer create these with short messages you can remember,
Hmm.
sometimes quotes. And it's not just 7. There's 8, 9, 10, 12. And if you get that in an email, and then if you just keep subscribing, you get more secrets. So you put them all together, kind of like the old surprises in the cereal box. When
Yep.
we were kids, we'd pour all the cereal out and go in for the surprise.
Yep.
Well, there's a surprise in there in that box, but you get it right off the bat, and you just keep getting those. And then you can get. In fact, I'm working on the cover, so the last thing you get, like one of the last emails you get, will have the cover, and you can put it all together and it'd be a workbook. It'll be a book
Oh,
on how
wow.
to get past beekeepers that you got for free.
That's a neat way to do it. I like that. Well, now I know
Yeah.
we've talked
So
a little bit about cold calling, about building lists and stuff like that. Why do you think that cold calling is like the secret to generating sales? Like we have all these other marketing tactics out there. We can mail people boxes to get past gatekeepers. We can do digital marketing, all that other stuff. Why cold calling?
well, actually, I believe in all the above. Mailing something, I don't cover that in the book. I have another. Excuse me, I have another book coming out that talks about that. But obviously, mailing something out to people, depending on what you mail, can warm it up a little bit and make it a little bit easier. And secret, I got this from Daniel Disney. I don't know if you know who that is, but Daniel Disney, um, he he had a post where he said he mailed a gatekeeper a box of chocolates.
Hmm.
So you warmed up, and that'll be one of my secrets. Forget that, you never heard it. It's one of those diagrams coming. So you never heard that, guys.
Yeah,
But
I think
that's
the
one of the
weirdest thing
secrets.
I've heard someone mail was a box of, or like those jars of marshmallow fluff. So the guy at Square Two Marketing, that was one of the things he said he did, was they send people these little 99-cent jars of marshmallow fluff, and they say this is the last fluff you're ever going to get from us, and then dives into some stuff and has it in the box. It was
Yeah, and then
interesting
Dale
and weird.
Dupree. Have you heard? You know Dale Dupree,
Hmm.
Sales Rebellion. He mails a crumpled up letter. It's crumpled up. Anything you can do to stand out and different. Now they have these little video brochures
Hmm.
that I got from Get the Meeting, Stu Heineke,
Hmm.
and they have them down really cheap. And you open it up, and it's a video start playing. So you just have to focus on. I just came back from Hacking Live. Tony Robbins said, "Ask a better question." Right? Don't just keep doing the same old marketing. Do it better. But to your answer, why telemarketing is because we all have a phone. Businesses still answer the phone, and it's the fastest way to get something going. Right? If you have a gun to your head and you got to make your mortgage and you're a salesman, um, you could start doing SEO, but that's going to take 6 months. I own an SEO company before you start getting any leads. The mortgage company is going to be knocking on before you ever get any leads from SEO. A lot of things take time, but cold calling, you can call with effective techniques. If you have a coach and they're coaching you on how to do it effectively, you could have leads. Within a day, you could already have appointments set. Go out there and start building your pipeline. So that's why SEO. But like you said, you could still mail something. That's a great way to do it. Take the time to build your digital presence and social media, but all those things take time.
Yeah.
Cold calling is you got the phone there. There's no investment, or your cell phone, right? And you can pick it up and you can start making calls after this podcast. Get my
Yeah,
book
that
and
would be a
then
lot faster. It's like even mailing
pick
stuff. You
up
have
the
to figure
phone.
out what to mail and get the boxes put together and get the addresses. And it's like you can call faster than you can mail something.
Yep. And
What
it's not
about
only
like,
15 a day. I did that for 6 months straight. 6 months. It was 1,800 appointments, but I've even set 30 in one day. 30 appointments in one day, and that's what I try to get my people when I coach them on my membership program, and I give them three live calls with me. I coach them to pick a day, and then we're going to set 30 appointments in one day. So that's
I can't even imagine talking to 30 people in one day. Like, how do you get past the mindset of like, I don't talk on the phone at all. Mine's automated. It'll send you to my voicemail. You will never call me and actually get me to answer the phone. Ashley will go through my messages and tell me if there's something important, but
yeah.
it's
Well,
impossible to get me on a phone.
there are people. What I have when I qualify now, I have people ask, "Is the person returned from COVID?" Right? Some people have never returned from COVID. They work from their home, and there's no way to transfer the line. We take
Mhm.
those people off the list. So
And we have a
unfortunately,
VoIP
Christina,
system, so like you can get
yeah,
like I can answer my phone from here, but I just don't.
yeah, we'd have to scrub you from the list. That's the
Yeah.
key. And to your point, if you've got a bunch of people that are not going to answer their phone, right, on your list, and you call them over and over again, you're wasting your time. You got to know that you got people on the list that most likely will answer the phone. Now, they may be, what I found is in a given list, there's a certain number of people maybe that are on vacation. They're real busy. If you took that same list and then, let's say, a month later called it again, you might get in contact with different people on that same list. It's odd how that works. So you want to call it for 3 or 4 days, like burn it up and then drop it, right? Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it, and then later pick it up again. It's not a hot potato. It's cooled off. It's cooled off. You can pick it up and you can call it again. You'll get different people. If you take the ones you set appointments without, you scrub those out. You'll get different people. So you keep calling those. One of my mentors said, keep calling them until they until they buy or die.
Oh man, that's terrible. I mean, how do you address the mindset around cold calling though? Because I mean, like people my age or younger, most of us just don't talk on the phone. We don't want to. We'll text, we'll Zoom, we'll email, but like phone is the absolute worst way to reach us just because we don't want to talk on the phone. Like, how do you get past that?
Well, it's changing, but still, right now, if you called law firms and you want to talk to the decision maker, you're probably not going to get a millennial or Gen Xer. You're getting the older folks, that are more old school that still use the
Yeah.
phone. If
Well, I
you
guess
call an
I'm
engineer
asking more
company,
about like the millennials that are in business now that are making calls. Like I'm considered an elder millennial at 38 years old. There's a lot of us that are late 20s and up that own businesses, and cold
yeah,
calling just is never something we would consider even adding into our repertoire.
yeah. Well, if you're calling mainline businesses, engineering companies, law firms, right? A lot of those still have older people that are relying on their phone. But you could still, my tip of the day today on LinkedIn was call and get the voicemail. And a lot of people put their cell phone in their voicemail. And
Mhm.
so, boom, you call their cell phone number directly and you get them. Now, you could still, we get into lead generation. What will happen is now you can get people's cell phone numbers. That's the scam calls you get. That's the next step. Once people really stop using regular telephones at some point, it's not happening. I still do cold calling. I just did a campaign. They paid me to go out there with them,
Mhm.
sit there with them and call. And I do something called shadowing, right?
Mhm.
Or shadow you while third party calling. We sat there and the guy did a terrible job qualifying his list. We sat there. We got past gatekeepers, and he set like 11 appointments in one day. That was in L.A. That was a few months ago, so it still works today.
Mm. I can't even imagine like making that many phone calls. Like having to call even like 10 people in a day would just mentally burn me out.
Yeah. Well, the key is you have to have fun, right? When you get my materials, you go to free workbook. You're going to see a lot of stuff in there is about having fun, being irreverent, being funny, and you're really the bright light of that person's day when you call in to the gatekeeper because they have a dreary job. They're not paid well. Most people don't care about them, and depending on their mindset when I call in, I'm there to cheer them up, right? Make them laugh. Or if they're busy, just bypass them real quick. Hey, you know what? Tell you're busy. Just put me over to Bob, please. And they do that. So once you learn all the secrets, and it's fun, super fun, and there's no feeling in the world, I have to admit, to persuade somebody to take action. Like you on this podcast, they listen and someone says, Christina, I watched your podcast and we took action. You get a high, don't you?
Yep.
When you get a high, well, that's the same feeling when I talk to you on the phone and we talk for a bit and I build rapport with you. I get some curiosity built in you, right? And then I'm persistent and then I make a close and I make it fun, right? That's the secret. You make it fun and exciting to close, and you're like, well, what the hell? What the hey? Yeah, I'll let your guy come over here for 20 minutes and pitch me whatever. Since you made it sound fun, and then when you get off the phone, it feels good, right? That's what hooked me. It's like golfing. Nobody's good at it. Well, a lot of people are not good. I'm not good, but that one drive when it goes high, and it gets loft, as they say in the golfing game, it gets loft and it lands on the fairway. That one keeps me hooked to the game. So that's what it is cold call. You may have a rough day, but then like right before lunch, you get a decision maker. They set an appointment, and then you're high, man. You're like, I got an appointment. But when you know what you're doing, you can be very persuasive. Uh, you that's how I was setting 15 appointment day because that's literally almost half of all the people I spoke with set appointments. Well, not half, right, all close to half. 15 out of 40 is not quite. 20 would have been exactly half. 15 just shy of that, but that's nearly almost half, which is
Yeah.
unbelievable, right? Imagine converting half the people you talk to a day to set an appointment is true persuasion, And when I was there, the people would comment, I was like the best. I did like 60% of the volume of that entire department. Like they could have fired everybody and just had me. But the people would say, "Man, you're like a talk show host, man," because that's what I was having fun. I was sitting over there like a talk show host, laughing, having a ball, and that's the thing. Any leader, that's if your phone room and your company is not having a ball and having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Yep. I can definitely see where that would make a difference. Like if it was actually fun to do, I'd probably want to do it all day long.
Yeah. Plus bonuses, spiffs, competition, right? All that stuff puts it in a whole nother mindset, right? Because you want to win that prize. When I worked at MBNA America Bank, when I was in college, they had prizes. They had like theater tickets. It was in Dallas, so it was
Mhm.
tickets to see the Mavericks, tickets to see the Texas Rangers, like real good seats, and it motivated me. I won every time. People just gave up. I just would collect my ticket, but it motivated me, man.
Oh man,
That's what you got
love
to
it.
do. Yeah.
I know as we're kind of wrapping up our time here, like, do you have any kind of final advice or tips that you want to share with our audience, real quick?
Just say read books, listen to podcasts, and read my book, Million
Yeah, I
Dollar
like
Rebuttal.
it. I'm working on
Yeah,
it at the moment. So for everybody
yeah,
listening, it's $1 Million Rebuttal. So definitely check it out. I'm halfway through it
yeah. But
myself, and it's been really
yeah,
good.
get the free workbook. It's totally free, and it has. I mean, it's got the real deal. It's not like pretend information. You know what I mean? Like people
Hmm.
give out stuff, and it's like kind of sorta. It's like the total straight dope. The real. I'm giving it away. I'm giving it away because if I start training you later on, I don't want to have to train you to get past gatekeepers, right?
Yep.
I want you to come to me and you've already been trained on it. And you're a superstar at that. Then the real work begins, right? Of what are you going to tell the decision maker to get his interest? How are you going to start a conversation? And how are you going to overcome his objections? And how are you going to negotiate an appointment? And I want to focus on that. So you learn it on your own. You go read the books, the workbooks.
Yep. I like it. Well, to wrap it up here, like, tell us more about who you like to work with, how you can help them, and where they can find you.
Yeah. So really, if you prospects have a phone or they answer the phone, like Christina says she doesn't answer the phone, but if they have a phone, they answer the phone, and you sell to businesses, so B2B, right? Is my it's my target, but this can work for B2C too, because
Hmm.
a lot of the principles when I was taking credit card, I used a lot of them then. So sometimes B2C this can still work, but it's ideal. The book is if you could read it, it's ideal for people who are trying to set an appointment, right? Which could be you can modify that now for face to face if you live in Texas or Florida. Um, if not, if not, you may have to do a Zoom meeting. But even in Texas and Florida, some people still want a Zoom meeting, right? So you can set it up as a webinar, a Zoom meeting. But the bottom line is it's really effective at setting an appointment of some sort, right? To then go and sell a prospect. And that's if you're doing that, then this would be right up your alley.
Really cool. And where can they go to find you? I know we've got the freeworkbook.com that they can go to
Yeah,
get that, but is that the best path
that's
in?
it. They can follow me on LinkedIn. I have a lot of secrets I reveal on LinkedIn posts. Entrepreneur.com magazine. I have 4 articles I write every month, and I put secrets in there that are not in the book. So check me out on Entrepreneur. You can find me on sales, marketing, and cold calling. When you put a subject, but LinkedIn, just look me up. I'm the superhero of cold calling.
Yep.
You'll see Super Dave in the corner. Dun, 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 Super Dave. That's my superpower, cold calling. And but right now I just want to drive everybody just super simple freeworkbook.com and get
Yep.
those 7 diagrams. And I want to hear back when they work for you. Connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know it's working. I want to hear that. I got past the gatekeeper. All right, send me a video. I want to hear that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on our show and for sharing your expertise. This has really been great. It's been different. We talk digital marketing a lot so far on the show because I know a lot of marketers. So this is a different approach and I love it. So thank you.
All right. Hey, I love your style. Entrepreneurs taking action. So, guys, pick up the phone and start dialing. Take action.
Oh man, I love it. So do that. Definitely start doing cold calling after you've read his book, after you've went to freeworkbook.com and gotten the stuff so you have some training under your belt. And then also join our community at etatoday.zone and learn how to build a business that enables your lifestyle instead of taking over your life. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.